College is extremely time consuming and very costly, so you need to make sure that you create a plan so you can attend to little to no cost and be successful. College can drastically change your life for the better, but you don't want debt or the lack of a job security to turn it for the worst. College is our first real investment, so we need to make sure that we research our major, the colleges, and all the type of scholarships that we can apply to before we go in. But don't worry, that's why I'm here to help you. I graduated undergrad and graduate school completely debt-free. Hello, welcome to my channel 100 Days with Kajo. Today we are on day 37 of building our personal constitution. It's a living, breathing document that has our boundaries, our standards, our expectations for our lives, so whenever we feel like an emotional wreck, we have a place to reground ourselves. And honestly, it is just my type A fix. I'll be giving you 10 things that you need to do before, during, and after college to ensure that you attend debt-free or little to no cost. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of it, you need to ask yourself, why do you want to go to college and what do you want to go to college for? This is extremely important because everything that I'm about to tell you, all the advice I'm about to give you, needs to be applied and adjusted accordingly to your interests. If you want to go to college because everyone else wants to go, get out of here. If you only want to go to college because you fear being viewed as a lame, get out of here. If you're only going to college for a boy, get out of here. All right, so let's get into it. What you should do before you go to college. 1, start applying for colleges as early as your freshman year. During my time in high school, I had an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet, whatever you want to call it, that had a list of all the scholarships that I wanted to apply to. A lot of them I couldn't apply to right away, but at least I would know about it for later on. There were a handful of scholarships I could apply as a freshman, and I took full advantage of that. Does that mean that I got them? No, but that doesn't mean you can't get them. When junior year rolls around, you don't want to be panicking and hustling and bustling and in chaos like everybody else. You're going to be relaxed because you have your Excel sheet and you know exactly what you need to do. 2, even if you can't apply for a scholarship yet, begin to write your essays. As I just mentioned, I had an Excel sheet even as a freshman that had all the scholarships that I could apply to. The ones that I couldn't apply to yet, I would look at the application process, see if there were any essay questions, and begin to write an essay question. Now, I didn't spend all my time on it, but this will get me familiar with the application process, so when the time comes, I would have something to review and to build upon and make better, versus it being your junior year and you're trying to write an essay, but you also have 10 billion homework assignments you need to turn in. Your future self will be thanking you for at least having the layout and at least having an idea of what to write. 3, start practicing for your ACT and SAT as early as your freshman year. Clearly, I like my freshman year. I am horrible at standardized testing, and I knew that I would need a lot of help for my ACT, so I started practicing my freshman year, and of course with time I'd gradually increase it because it wasn't as important during my freshman year. And then when my senior year came around, and that's when the scores really mattered and everyone was really stressed about it, I was calm because I was familiar with the test and I got a fairly good score. 4, at the end of each year, ask your teachers for a generic recommendation. When your junior and senior year roll around and everyone is applying to colleges and for scholarships, you need a billion recommendations. Teachers are bombarded by recommendations, and honestly, if they hadn't had you since your freshman year or even the last year, they'll probably forget everything that you've done, your personality, and all the connections that you've made. It's better to ask a recommendation at the end of the year because you are fresh on their mind. They like you, they love you, they know everything about you. Of course, provide them a resume of everything you've done outside of school so they can write you a better recommendation. But this way you have a bank of generic recommendations that you can pull from when the time comes. Now for the scholarships and applications of anything that say, hey, the person writing the recommendation cannot give it to you, they need to send it directly to us. That is okay. All you have to do is take the generic recommendation that they had written for you before, give it to them so they can tweak it, change it, do what they need to do, and then they can ship it off. 5, build a brag bank. All throughout high school, they're pushing extracurricular activities. They want you to be a well-rounded student. They want you to volunteer and do this and that and the third and blah, 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 blah. Cool. But as more time passes, you begin to forget all your accomplishments. You begin to forget everything that you've been involved in. So you need to have a consistently rolling brag bank that has everything that's good about you, have pictures, have names, everything. So when recommendations come around, when applications come around for colleges or scholarships, that you have a place to pull from and you don't have to dig in the back of your mind and stress out. 6, go to community college and potentially start working with your associate degree. Now, this isn't something that I did. However, if I didn't get a full ride to my college, I would have absolutely gone to a community college, got my associate's degree, began working part-time to pay for the rest of my undergraduate program to gain my bachelor's degree, and then so on and so forth into my graduates. You don't need to go to these name brand schools to be successful. There are people who go to these big schools extremely in debt and have no job, and there are people who go to community college, have a job, very successful, savings full, investments thick. Community college is a wonderful resource. Do not let people bully you out of saving money. Again, let me tell you this again. I only went to my college because I had a full ride. Had I not, I would have had no problem going to community college. 7, see what certifications are required to excel in your degree and major. This is an important thing to take note in high school while you're looking at potential degrees or potential majors that you want to major in. English, whatever. Because once you learn about these certain certifications or certificates or license that you have to obtain, you might either 1, run for the hills, or 2, say, hey, I actually kind of like this. Let me lean more into it. You want to know and understand the full cost associated with your degree. I also want to know that there are tons of scholarships that are geared towards those certifications. So if you want to become a lawyer, right, there may be scholarships that are specifically for students who want to pass the bar, right? Even though if you're not taking it yet, even if it's years down the line, but you have an interest in it and that you're going to school for law, so you apply for the scholarships because that is something that you're interested in. 8, apply for fellowships like Fulbright and Truman. There are a variety of fellowships. There are fellowships that are open to anyone and everybody. There are other fellowships that are directed towards underprivileged students. There's other fellowships that are directed towards maybe a certain geographic location, but they all provide the same thing, a full ride. 9, choose a combined undergraduate and graduate program. This isn't something that I did, but from my understanding, a combined program can be typically less costly than trying to complete undergrad, take a little break, and then complete grad. This is especially beneficial to students who know exactly what they want to do and know for a fact they want to get their graduate degree. I also want to note that there aren't that many students who do a dual undergrad and graduate program because students don't look for it. So what does that mean? That means there are more scholarships out there for students who do dual programs. 10, negotiate your financial aid package. Now, I did not initially negotiate my financial aid package. However, I have negotiated for a few scholarships. I was able to get it up a couple $100s more because there were students who simply did not apply to them. And I asked, hey, are there extra funds because I want to use it for XYZ or blah, blah, blah. Like, I give it my whole spiel and I make it professional. These are 10 things you should be doing during college to be debt-free and successful. 1, look at your majors or your college's scholarships. A lot of people like to believe that the only time you can apply for scholarships, oh my goodness, the only time you can apply for scholarships is in high school. That is completely wrong. There are tons of current student scholarships out there. They are very hidden, but the first place you can look is actually in your respective college with your respective major. 2, go to every one of your professor's office hours at least once. Going to your professor's office hours greatly benefits you because 1, the professor can put a name to a face. 2, they're able to give you a little more leeway when you make a mistake or you're confused on a question because they know who you are, you've made that connection. 3, if you have any questions about your career or your major, they are able to guide you and give you some solid advice. Number 3, at the end of the semester, ask your employers and your professor for a generic recommendation and a recommendation on LinkedIn. You want to use the same concept as a generic recommendation that you did in high school in college. Now, you don't have to do this with every single one of your professors, especially since in college, a class is only for 1 semester versus 1 year. But for the ones that you've made a good connection with and the ones that are directly linked to your major, you should definitely ask for a generic recommendation from. I also mentioned a recommendation on LinkedIn. When you go on LinkedIn, if you scroll down, you see a part that says recommendation. You can click on that and send a request to your professor or a former employer to leave a recommendation on your LinkedIn page. That way, when you're applying to internships, when you're applying to jobs, that they are able to refer to those recommendations without even you having to ask people again for them. They're able to see that these very intelligent, well-rounded, very established individuals like you. And if they like you, they want to like you too. Or meet with your career advisor, with your mentor, or your professor to evaluate your path. You do not have to figure out everything on your own. It is good to have a cheerleader and an echo chamber of encouragement pushing you forward and leading you in the right direction. 5, join organizations that are associated with your major. Joining these organizations will open you to the possibility of scholarships and career expos that you can attend. For instance, I joined various accounting organizations during my academic career. Because of that, I was able to collect over $20,000 in scholarships during college. When these organizations are nationally recognized, they have major, big, huge career expos that you can attend. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of employers there wanting to hire for internships or for full-time jobs. When you meet face-to-face, you are more likely to be hired. When you meet face-to-face, you are more likely to get that interview. When you are face-to-face, you are able to ask the questions you want to ask, but can't ask during an interview. 6, this is closely tied to number 5, but attend career fairs in your university as early as your freshman year. This is a great alternative if you are not able to afford going to those nationally recognized career expos. Your university career fairs are always free to you. Going as early as your freshman year allows you to see what is out there and to network. I also wanted to note that you don't even have to be a current student to attend a university career fairs. So if you have any colleges near you, you are allowed to go to their website, see when they're having their career fair, and just show up. And that's a whole lot better than going on LinkedIn or Indeed or any of their websites, putting in your resume and them just ignoring you versus you having a face-to-face conversation with a human being. 7, have hobbies outside of your academic career. Doing so will allow you to enjoy life. You want to make friends through your hobbies. You want to be able to relax and take your mind off your studies. You want to be able to discover your interests and passions outside of your professional career. For instance, outside of my academic career, outside of my professional career, I am a model and a content creator. Now, I love it so much, and I didn't realize it would become such a passion of mine. Imagine if I only focused on my academic career and then realized that I didn't like it as much anymore, and then I felt lost because I didn't engage in any other of my passions. You want to keep who you are close-knit to you, so when you start working, you don't completely disappear into your job title. 8, post everything on LinkedIn. This is your brag bank 2.0. In high school, you had a Google Doc, you could refer to it, maybe you posted on LinkedIn or you didn't, but in college, it is very, very, very important to post everything on LinkedIn. Internships, jobs, extracurricular activities, you traveled and you learned something and it opened your eye to who you are and your surroundings. Like, milk it. 9, have an internship every single year and don't be loyal to any company or firm. Summer internships, fall, spring internships will look great on your resume. It's okay to have internships that are a little outside of your degree because it makes you well-rounded and interesting. And the reason I say you shouldn't be loyal to any company or firm is because you want to make sure you see everything that's out there. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Now is your time to diversify your experience. And 10, my favorite one, go out at least once a week and have one fun thing you do every single day. You need to build the practice of enjoying life. You need to build the practice of putting yourself first. You need to build the practice of putting life first before work. It only gets harder as you get older. All right, here are 10 things that you need to do after you graduate. 1, periodically check in with your employers and your professors after you graduate. Now, you don't need to do this with every single professor or every single employer, but definitely ones that you've made a connection with. They're able to tell you any opportunities or any jobs that you may be interested in. If you're thinking about graduate school, they may give you tips, advice, insights, opportunities that you could take advantage of. 2, before you accept a job offer, ensure that they have tuition reimbursement or they will pay for your graduate program. I've noticed that a lot of people don't go to graduate school right away, and that is completely okay, but you want to make sure whatever company or firm that you decide to go with will pay for your schooling or reimburse you for your tuition. This relieves the stress of having to pay everything yourself when you have bills, when you're traveling, when you potentially have a family. 3, you can write a tuition proposal for graduate school. So pretty much a tuition proposal is you listing out reasons why you believe that you should be a candidate to be offered money for graduate school or even a full ride. I've heard stories of people who've done this and succeeded, and I thought, okay, you know what? Why not me? I tried it and I failed. But that doesn't mean that you won't succeed. The worst thing that they can tell you is no. And that is in fact what they told me. In my tuition proposal, I highlighted and outlined everything that I've done and completed in high school and during my undergraduate program, things I've done outside of my academic career, my personal adversities, things I like to do for fun. I gave them a full picture of who I am and why I am more than deserving. 4, seek out hybrid or online graduate programs. I cannot speak for every single university, but for some universities, their online program is significantly cheaper than their in-person program. I got my graduate degree at Northern Kentucky University. Their online Masters of Accountancy program was roughly about $15,000 to $16,000. When I looked at other respective colleges in my city and within my state, it would range between $20,000 to $45,000. Those programs wouldn't even give me the flexibility of traveling or living at home. With online programs, you are able to take the classes that you want whenever you want. If your life is extremely busy, you take one class. If things dial down, you could take 2 classes. You want to see how their semesters are broken. My semesters were broken by 7 weeks. In theory, I could have finished my graduate degree in 10 months, but life happens. But the moral of the story, it is done. 5, just like number 4, you want to find hybrid or remote jobs. If you like to travel, if you want to explore other interests, or you want to build on skills, a hybrid or remote arrangement may be the best thing for you. Personally, for me, I didn't want to feel confined to one location. I'm a free spirit, okay? I like to fly. I like to do me. 6, every year you need to reflect on your current job position. Not only your job title, but the industry that you're in, maybe your geographic location, or even perhaps your current arrangement, remote, hybrid, or fully in person. We are constantly changing and evolving, and you don't want to confine yourself to decisions that you made in the past. Your past decisions benefited you then, and it's okay to do a 180. For instance, I was doing public accounting. I realized that I didn't like it anymore. I decided to fully embrace modeling and content creating. 7, it is okay to quit. You do not have to hold yourself hostage to a company. And you know what they say, the best time to look for a new job is while you're working. Do not believe that you wasted your time or that your skills do not apply. They absolutely apply. You're searching for a job, as long as you meet 80% of the qualifications, you are good. And most of the time you will learn on the job anyway. It's okay to rediscover what you like. It's okay to leave. It is okay. I'm also telling myself, it is okay. 8, don't try to keep up with everyone else. As soon as we graduate, we are no longer on the same playing field. Some people started a business in college and now they're excelling. Some people are traveling. Some people started families. Some people are married. Some people are whatever. If you're too worried about what everyone else is doing in comparison to you, you will never focus hard enough to figure out what you want to do, and you'll be stuck like that for longer than you want to. 9, build skills outside of your profession. Building skills within your profession is extremely important and will help you excel and get paid more in the future. However, building skills outside of your profession opens you up to more opportunities. For instance, I model, which requires me to have a lot of entrepreneurial skills. Same with content creating. It's pushing me to understand branding, marketing, and overall videography. My YouTube channel is forcing me to better articulate myself and improve my public speaking. I am building skills outside of my profession that, 1, could benefit my profession, or 2, open up new avenues for me. 10, use your profession to fund your passions. Sometimes you just want to get up and quit. I get it, girl. I get it. Sometimes we need the money, and that's okay. Doesn't it feel better when you go to work knowing that some percentage of your paycheck is going towards something that you absolutely love and that you're building, rather than just going to work just to work? For instance, as I was working public accounting, I would save some of my money to book photo shoots to update my portfolio. I was able to go to Chicago Fashion Week in October of last year. And I went to a modeling competition in the summer that allowed me to get signed with an agency in LA. I allowed my profession to fund my passions. It may be a good idea for you to consider perhaps a part-time job in your career, in your profession. This will allow you to focus more on your passions. Alrighty, so in your personal constitution, I want you to take everything that I said, take what applies, and write down your game plan. I hope this was helpful, and please leave your own tips and tricks in the comments below so everyone can benefit from everything. If you're having any trouble building your own personal constitution and you want to use mine as a reference, you can definitely check out my Substack. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in section C, where we will talk about balancing life and school.